It doesn't.
Hey, welcome to the Metal Bar. I am lucky enough, as you can tell, to be with one half of Trivium. These guys in the country, obviously, to play a whole bunch of shows with Disturbed. Corey, Matt, welcome along.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for you guys coming all the way down here.
Of course, yeah. This is our third trip now of this country, so hopefully we'll start getting more. We've done 5 Australia, so we're going to catch up a little bit here.
Yeah, because I think first show was a big day out.
Yep, and all our gear blew up during Light to the Flies, and the crowd kept singing the parts of the song, which is really cool. So it's a good sign of things to come.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I remember, too, you guys did an absolutely mind-blowing version of Master of Puppets as well, I think.
Did we play that day?
I think you did.
I'm pretty
sounds
sure. About right.
Yeah. No, that was great.
Yeah. Used to bust like half the song out every once in a while, but...
Now, you guys been real busy working on a new record, and we're looking at possibly like an August release, maybe?
Yes. We got done touring end of March last year, and pretty much just we were at home the whole time up until like a week before we left for the Australian tour. We were writing for like the first part of like all last year, and then starting like January through like second week of March, we were recording the whole time. So like we finished the record, then like 6 days later we were on a plane to go to Australia. So we've been busy.
Yeah, you've been real busy.
Yeah, the record, I guess we've been working on parts of it for the last, I think almost like a year to year and a half, demoed for like 6 or 8 months and recorded for what, 2 or 3?
Yeah, it was like probably 2.5 months of just tracking.
Yeah. And the record kept getting pushed. Like it was supposed to be out by like June or July, and we didn't end up starting until way late. Just things kept happening. So, but it's finally done, and it's really great.
Cool. Well, that's a long time, I guess between records, but it's also a long time to be writing and to be demoing. How many songs would you typically end up with, that aren't obviously not all going to make the record, but how many songs have you demoed?
I think on average per record there's usually about anywhere from like 13 to 15 songs, because when you actually go into the studio to record it, there's a lot to do to record all the music and the vocals and just get everything perfect for the actual album. But I think when we were actually demoing it, we varied from like, we'd start with like maybe like 30 song ideas and kind of like get rid of the ones that we didn't really feel like were that good, and then we actually were like jamming like anywhere from like 20 to 25 songs, and we just kind of would drop songs that we felt that weren't, we kind of focused in on like the more we played and the more we realized which songs were going to be like the ones we wanted to focus on, and that had the direction that we were looking for the overall record. So we kind of just kept whittling it down, and then we actually went into the studio. We had 13 songs that we felt were all really killer, so we rolled with that.
Excellent. And how do you, like last record, obviously Shogun had, reflecting, I guess, some of your heritage there, Matt, had a theme, as it were, with the samurai thing. Is there a theme for this record, and do you come up with a theme straight away and then go, we're going to write a record about this, or do you get a bunch of songs, start some writing, and then see what the feel is and come up with a theme based off that?
With this album, there's going to be no right or wrong interpretation the way anyone sees it. It's something that I definitely wanted to go into it with, that, like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, that the people, that really the definition of the song, of the album, of the artwork, of everything is in like the ear and the eye of the beholder, because we're pretty much, every single thing was a conscious effort this time. This new record, it wasn't just the music, it was also the art and logo and website and merchandise and look, and obviously that stuff hasn't happened yet because the record's not out yet, but once the new record's out, every single thing has been worked on, and everyone will see that it's not going to just be the normal metal art anymore. It's not just going to be standard band photos or standard music videos. It's going to be a whole new world, and I really want to see what people interpret that as and what they make it, because it means something for each one of us differently in the band. And some of the songs that I've passed around the meanings to the other guys in the band, but not too much, because I still want everyone to be able to make up what they feel like it is. And I feel like if I give too much of an indication before someone goes into it, they might walk into it with a preconceived idea of, okay, this is supposed to mean this, but I don't want anything that's supposed to mean anything. So
yeah, okay, I'm intrigued because this is kind of taking the whole being in a band thing to a new level, which I guess you're seeing more and more with the state of the music industry at the moment and where the music industry is going. So that as an artist, you're feeling now that, from what I'm picking up, is we're not just going to deliver you a record, but we're going to deliver you a whole experience.
Exactly, because that's something I feel like, when I look at the standard metal video, there isn't as much that goes into it as some of these bands that, like indie bands, for example, have some of the coolest, strangest videos I've ever seen, but musically it's like, man, visually it's intense, but musically it's not. Why aren't metal bands doing this? Why isn't it going to the next extreme? So I think we're gonna attempt to do that now, and to take everything as a creative decision and not just, make the album and hire a guy to do the cover 2 weeks before the record needs to come out and say, all right, get it done.
Yeah.
And this time we've been working on the art, us and the guy who's really putting it all together. We've been working on it for almost about a year now, which is the art for the record. So
wow, that's almost as long as you've been working on the record.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, Corey, with the writing process, I know I've been reading a few things. I see that the writing process for this album maybe have changed a bit, and there's a bit more input from other members of the band as well.
Well, every record that we've done, like Paulo, Matt, and I always, everyone just writes as many riffs or song ideas as possible, and we all trade them around and give each other tips and whatever. But this one was a little bit different just because working with Nick, like we can work quicker. Like he's got like the same kind of like brain as the rest of us when it comes to music. That like one of us could show me a riff and like the rest of us can like, absorb it really quick. We can start jamming on the song ideas, and Nick, we could show him a riff or show him a demo and he'll come right in, and like it was pretty amazing because we'd give him like a demo of like guitar riffs, like a song idea, and just because we'd program like drums and stuff, like the demos and stuff, but we'd give him the track with no drums on it, it's just guitar riffs, and we'll just go into practice and we'll be able to just play through the whole song like the first time we played it, which we've never really had been able to do that before, and then it just kind of makes getting the bulk of the work out of the way of being able to play the music together, and then we can kind of get to the fine details and tuning the songs and getting them really put together a lot quicker. So we had a lot more time to kind of like fine tune everything because all the kind of like just learning the tunes was kind of gotten out of the way a lot quicker. So it really helped us with all the details of the music to get it to like where we really felt that everything is really cohesive, and Nick's playing off the guitar parts more than we've ever had in our music, where everything's just the detail between the drums and parts is way more in depth than any other record we've had. So we feel it like having that ability, like it's really kind of brought like a new aspect into our music, and just like the creativeness into it. It's a lot more in depth. So I think when everyone hears it, they'll kind of know what I'm talking about. But it's pretty cool. Like we had a lot of fun just going in and playing and just putting this music together, and I think just having that much fun as a group and just kind of jamming and playing, like it really comes across in the music as being very energetic and intense and a lot of fun to listen to.
Sweet. Okay, and well, that kind of, I was actually going to ask you, so I'll throw this one to you, Matt. The difference between, obviously Nick's fitting in well because he's still there, right? So the difference between recording a record with Nick and your previous drummer Travis, I mean, is it a marked difference? You find it? You found it?
I've had a lot of people ask, obviously the biggest question is, what's the band like now? How is it having Nick in the band, and why the lineup changed, all this stuff? But really the best analogy I've been able to describe it as is that when we brought Nick into the band and when we started playing with Nick and running with Nick, it felt like we were a brand new band. Like we were a bunch of people from the same hometown that said, hey, let's start making music together, and we were recording our first demo. That's what it felt like. We were off for so long, we were off for a year, that I forgot what it was like to tour and what it was like to play shows. And I remembered I was still in the band, but it's like it felt like a complete refresh when we got in. When he was officially in the tour right before that break, but at that time when we were home, we were able to digest it and really figure it out. And it's just there's no limitations. We can do whatever we want to do, and I wish the album was out now so everyone can hear it. But I think it's also good that we get to test, a couple of our ideas before the album comes out, like what we're doing live, what we're doing visually, and all this stuff. And it just feels like we're a brand new band, like we're a local band who's going on our first couple tours, but they just happen to be in front of 10,000 people. So.
And how is that touring with? Like we said, you've been here previously. One was a festival, one was your own show at Power Station, which holds like maybe 1,200, 1,500 people. Now you're doing, an arena show with Disturbed. How do you find that difference, and how is it touring with Disturbed?
It's been amazing. We've actually had a couple opportunities, Disturbed like we met David Draymond came out to one of our shows, like even before I think Ascendancy came out. We're opening for like Danzig, and he actually liked us back then, and we've kind of like gotten every once in a while, like we got asked to open for him on a tour like years ago, but it was like a Jägermeister tour. We weren't old enough to be on it.
Right.
So we've kind of like had these chances to play with him, but like it just never seemed to work out right. And then this tour came up, and we were really stoked. And you know, we've met the guys a few times here and there in European festivals, and everyone's always been super cool. And touring with them has been amazing. It's been probably like, for being such a big tour and arenas and stuff, it's been probably like one of the most like relaxed environments for like a tour. And all those guys are just super cool and just really nice. And you know, it's been a really great tour for not being on tour for a year to come out and being on such a really cool tour. Their crew's awesome. The guys in the bands are awesome, and it's just a great experience for us to have, and have the opportunity to, especially in a country like Australia where we've done pretty well and it keeps getting better, to have like, you know, we've never done like a support tour like this, and you know, playing those shows, the reactions were amazing, and I think that really, you know, playing with them really opened us to like a new audience, and hopefully the same thing will happen here where we get exposed to a lot of people that would probably like us but just never had a chance to hear us, and then, you know, just kind of grow our fan base here. So it's been an amazing time.
Sweet. That's great.
Yeah, it's one of the best we've ever been treated on a tour before. It's really good. There's like no stage space limitations. There's no decibel limit limitations. There's no catering limitations. There's no security limitations. It's really cool. They treat us really well. And I remember I was telling the bass player John, and I was like, man, we've never been treated this well on a tour this size. So thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really cool thing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, I know you brought in Colin Richardson to work on the new record, and he's done with, you know, obviously Bullet from the Valentine and Machine Head, Fear Factory, Slipknot. Was there a reason that you picked him? And if so, you know, what have you found different working with him that he's brought to the table?
In our minds, we've always felt like the two best metal producers in the world are Colin Richardson and Andy Sneap.
Right.
We've never had either of them produce a record before. We've had both of them mix records of ours before. I think it was just through being such fans of Colin that we wanted to see what he can do. Like, we knew he's a killer producer, and I guess there was like a 3-year lull when people only hired him to mix, where he's actually just a badass producer as well. So we wanted to see what he could do with us, and one of his main things was that he was so meticulous with tone and with setting things up. We've never seen anything like that. I mean, we came into it where metal started getting the new school way of recording with metal, and the way you do that is you plug into a shitty amp farm guitar tone on Pro Tools, send it, and hopefully when it gets mixed and mastered, the guy makes it sound better. But Colin doesn't even like to start recording a note until you have the guitar tone of the album.
Right.
So, I mean, drum tones took 4.5 days just to get a good drum tone. Guitar tones, including technical difficulties and having to fire a studio and relocate, took about 4 or 5 days just to get a guitar tone. We tried, I think, 20 heads and 10 cabs and 20 guitars and all this stuff. And it was really great to see how much effort he puts in everything before you even start. And he doesn't really ever lose his patience. You know, I've told him that I've admired his patience a lot. I mean, I'm not that kind of a patient guy. I'm not as patient as he is, and it's amazing how much detail they all put into it. But it was actually Colin Richardson and Martin Ginge Ford from Skindred and Dub War, who also co-produced the record with Colin.
Cool.
And then Carl Bound, doesn't have an R in his last name. Carl Bound engineered the record, and it was really fun recording with them. And if they'd be up for it, I would love to have them again for another record. It was really good.
Sweet.
Yeah.